Hey everybody, thanks for the intro. Yes, I am Mike Parker. Can you hear me okay? Head of Optimization Sales, Programmatic Sales at IAS. I've been IAS for, 7 years now, 3 of which in this role. I love what I do. On a normal day, I get to evangelize our pre-bid products. There's a lot of cool things we're doing besides that. SPO, attention targeting, MFA avoidance, and all that good stuff. But today we're going to keep it real light. Easy breezy, we're going to talk about misinformation, specifically with our multimedia classification and how that's helping us flag that for clients and avoid it for clients. So let's dive right in. And again, I love this conference. This is our favorite conference every year. I know a lot of you will feel the same way by the end of it. So we're not having fun right yet. We're going to do a nice sales slide. Our marketing team worked really hard on it, but I feel like this is a really nice summary. And I'm going to keep this in the background while I essentially give you guys a talk track of how I bring up misinformation with our partners, with my team members, and the like. So I'm old. I'm a dinosaur. I'm in my 40s. I do remember when global media was consolidated to a handful of newspapers, major networks, that had the resources to go validate, find, and confirm news stories. And that was once called journalism. It was before aggregators were a thing. And I think we're all well aware that the speed at which information can travel right now is pretty dangerous. And it's led to a lovely byproduct called circular reporting. So I'll give you a couple examples, right? An easy one is outlet A will post a story that is fake. Outlet B will repost it or rewrite it. And outlet A will cite outlet B as a source in their edit. And this circular fun game goes on and on. A more common approach, as gross as that is let's say a news story breaks, I think we're all aware. A bunch of our favorite news sites will jump on it, leading the reader to believe that it's been verified by multiple sources, and it's just not the case. So I will say, in all fairness, we play our role too. No show of hands required, but in the need for quick information, quick answers, quick news, or even confirmation bias, if we're getting further up the scale, I think a lot of people are willing to kind of forego the validity of a source. And it's just the world that we live in, right? So the reality is this, and it's not really unique to digital, but I see 3 key challenges here that are facing us right now. One is just how pervasive news can be, right? Narratives are ever changing. It's not really unique to digital, but at the same time, with just how quickly digital can pivot, it's a very dangerous thing. Number 2, the need for fact checking is more important than ever. But again, with the breadth and depth of information kind of flooding our news feed, it's really hard and much more time-consuming and cost prohibitive to include any kind of human verification, even though we desperately need that. And then the third thing is user-generated content. I think we're all well aware that UGC is incredibly nuanced, and the tone of whatever piece of content can play a major factor in how that's deciphered. So 2 weeks ago, this was a GARM slide. GARM is dead, but I do want to call out, this is a really important slide to review, in that a common framework for brand safety and suitability is very much mandatory in our space. Call it a sandbox, call it swim lanes, call it a goalpost, but we really need to know a common framework that we can all back into. So I do like to kind of start here as more of a foundational play. Then our baseline tech comes in and does the heavy lifting. So this is actually a fun slide. Total media quality, or just think of it like the breakdown of image, audio, and text for every video that we score at the frame-by-frame level. And we're doing some really cool things. And I'll break down each bucket here. So from an image perspective, one of the first things we're doing is we're conducting advanced scene analysis. Just think of set and setting, right? Where is the video taking place? Is it a boardroom? Is it an emergency room? Is it not a room at all? Is it battlefield? Again, depending on where the video takes place, is very crucial in deciphering the context of that video. The second thing we're doing from an image perspective is we're pulling out logos in any context, something like jersey, watermarks, billboards. And from a brand protection standpoint, the obvious use case here is any kind of like copyright infringement or brand protection. But just think, other benefits here of like competitive conquesting or co-sponsoring as a really nice, added bonus of being able to pull out logos in any context. The third thing we're doing is public or known figure detection or public figure detection. Just think celebrities, politicians, athletes. Depending on who's in the video, it can mean a completely different context. And it's a really cute example. I do this every time I talk about this, but our marketing team, I don't know if they're younger or older, but they threw out Justin Bieber as an example always. And this is not an old deck. I don't think Bieber's anything new, but Apparently, if Justin Bieber's in a video, can be more salacious than not. I don't know if that's still true, but it makes me smile, so I bring it up all the time. And then the fourth thing from an image perspective is dangerous or explicit images. So again, a lot of our partners want to avoid alcohol, they want to avoid violence, so if a gun is present or a glass of wine, again, it can mean a lot of different things to different people. Now, from an audio perspective, pretty simple stuff here. We're just transcribing the spoken word. We're doing it in over 50 languages, and we're taking into account things like cultural nuance, slang, for a more accurate model. And then text, again, pretty simple stuff here. Is there text on the screen? Is there a hashtag? And then we're also scrubbing the metadata. It's just the description of the data, and in a lot of cases, it's fairly vague, fairly nebulous. And so you can imagine the benefits here are, number one, clients don't have to rely on metadata. They don't have to rely on that keyword approach. Two, they're not missing key themes by, again, not pulling in context and full context there with regards to just, again, a vague description. And then the biggest one, in my opinion, is they're not relying on content creators to self-classify, which I think can pose a whole series of maybe some ethics concerns. Now, here's how we break down a video. Kind of a rough one, to be honest. I think it's probably from I don't know, My Strange Addiction or something terrible, Intervention maybe, but sorry guys. But I do want to call it what we're doing at a frame-by-frame level. So we're pulling out everything. It's not just the first and the last, which is an industry standard. We are using advanced data learning models, and if there's any data scientists here, don't butcher me, but we're using techniques like computer vision. Just think millions of objects categorized in any different angle and catalogs for quick reference. And then kind of going back to the first point, since we're pulling out each frame, we're able to stitch them together to understand events and actions, which is a lot more crucial than, again, that first and last with this prime example here with this mean stare down in the last frame. So is this slide intentionally confusing? Probably. So here's what we're going to do. This is a visual cue of how we're leveraging our tech. And with a couple minutes left, I'm going to break down really the highlights that I think are important to pull out. So first, we use an independent network of third-party fact checkers. They are not classifying content for us, but they're validating the classification, and they're helping us retrain our models. And I do want to be clear that human-in-the-loop aspect is across the entire product suite. So we have our standard taxonomy, our framework. We have our baseline tech that does the heavy lifting. And then, again, we're kind of falling into those standards. So a company that we've worked with for years now, since 2021, is the Global Disinformation Index. I know it's kind of lame to reference a third party and data source, but what they do is they help us stay informed, they help us monitor trends, new narratives, and I think that's really crucial. So we're doing all that, and then again, we're breaking everything down according to the IAB categories. So if partners want to avoid protests, social unrest, politics, you name it, any one of a couple hundred categories, we can accurately classify that. So a trend that we're seeing in IAS, I think we're all aware of this, it's nothing new to us or unique to us, but is the rise of user-generated content or AI-generated content in this space. I think we'll probably all have at least some conversation around AI this week, and I do want to say that AI is not inherently bad, but I do want to be clear, images, audio, text, and even user engagement is going to be largely driven by AI in the coming years. I mean, do I think it's going to be 90% in the next 18 months? I don't, but I think it's going to be the vast majority, and I think we need to plan accordingly, right? Because we're kind of in this weird, we'll call it perfect storm. Not to fearmonger, but I'm going to fearmonger a little bit. We're in this perfect storm now where we have this technology that can replicate convincingly authentic material at unprecedented speed and scale in a year when countries that are home to, we'll call it round up, half the world's population are holding elections. So it's kind of a scary time. And I don't know if anyone's monitored the news earlier in the year, but Indonesia actually pulled this off pretty successfully, essentially rebranding a dictator with a warm and fuzzy feeling through AI. So it's very real, and it's only going to get more pervasive. Now, with this real example here, again, a perfectly real image of me. Don't laugh. And let's say the media post speech that I did a couple years ago or this, you can create a really convincing deep fake example.
Grandma? Hi, it's me, Michael. Listen, I don't have a lot of time to explain, but I've been in a drunk driving accident and I'm in jail. No, I'm okay, I promise, but I need you to bail me out. I would have called Mom and Dad, but they'd be so mad, and I knew you'd be awake watching Golden Girls reruns. I promise I'll transfer you the money back tomorrow, but I'm running out of time. I'm going to pass the phone to an officer to help process your debit card, okay?
That was sobering. That was a lot more funny in my office when I was laughing to myself. No grandmas were harmed in this at all, but this is a real scam going on right now, and I can't think of anything worse than taking advantage of the elderly and vulnerable. Maybe save for messing with a salesperson's quota.
Hi, this is Michael Parker from Integral Ad Science, and I give all my favorite customers a 95% discount.
Yeah, okay. That one was for me. That was stupid. I'm gonna regret that after the fact. But I do want to unpack things. So again, what we're doing from a deepfake perspective, again, we are looking at the set and setting. We're analyzing the scene. We know if any public figures are present, objects, dangerous or otherwise, are involved. We're analyzing the text. We're analyzing the audio, and then we're going a layer deeper in terms of deepfakes. So what we're doing is we're classifying two of the most common categories. The first of which is voice manipulation, which you just heard a couple of stellar examples of. The second is face swapping. I think we can all understand that as taking someone's face, putting it on someone else's body, and the context could be wildly inappropriate. I think Taylor Swift earlier in the year was probably a really good example of how gross that is. And again, not to fearmonger, but this is only going to get better and better as the months go by. So with that said, again, breaking down everything we do from a data perspective, we're running through our deepfake detection model, and we're determining as generative AI manipulated or impacted this image or video. If it has, we're going a layer deeper. Is it potentially in the context of misinformation? I know it's a little vague, but again, kind of going back to my previous examples. And then we're making the call. So everything that IAS does, I think at the core of what we do is we help protect brands. So if we're making the call and we're lining settings and we've determined that it's a deep fake and misinformation, we're going to prevent that client's ad from serving to prevent really bad stuff like negative ad recall, negative brand recognition, maybe even a boycott, which is certainly an extreme example, but it happens all the time. So with that said, again, I know I'm running up against golf and horseback riding today, maybe. The bar anyway. So I will invite you guys to please come have a conversation with me about misinformation or any other cool stuff we're doing. Again, MFA, avoidance, SPO, attention targeting, kind of all of the above. We also have Kyle Spraker in the audience. He's our head of new logo. Kyle, wave to the nice people. Please come find us. We love it here. We want to have more conversations, so looking forward to it. And have a great rest of the conference, guys. Thanks.